I'm Jeff Van Dyke, Deputy Editor of 5280 Magazine, and I'm speaking with Amanda Faison today. Amanda's our food editor, and we're going to be talking about her personal essay, which is in the August issue, about her family's experience with in vitro fertilization. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So you and your husband Heath have 2 daughters, and I was wondering if we could start by you telling us a little bit about the pregnancy and birth of your first daughter, Ella.
Sure. My pregnancy with Ella was a breeze. We had no issues. Conceiving. I had the easiest pregnancy. I didn't enjoy it, but it was a breeze.
Around the time Ella turned 1, you and Heath started to feel, as you put it in the piece, the tug of expansion.
We didn't expect to have any issues, but we thought it might take a couple months or something like that to get pregnant.
And this time around was a drastically different experience for you guys.
It was very different. It didn't start off different. We actually got pregnant relatively easy, and everything was going fine, we thought, except I ended up miscarrying, and pretty quick. It was about the 7-week mark is when I miscarried, and that was just such a shock. We never expected that this would happen to us. And it's interesting because the studies say that, or just percentages, 1 in 3 women will probably miscarry, but you never really think it's going to be you.
Right. And that sort of started this chain effect of you guys going down this path that, again, no idea was coming.
Right. So after our first miscarriage, we kind of deemed it as a fluke. I mean, it was horrible, it was sad, but we dealt with it and we moved on and spoke with our doctor and waited the amount of time that we were supposed to, and then we started trying again, thinking that again it was a fluke. This was not going to happen again, and yet it did happen again.
And at what point did you decide to go down the path of fertility treatments? Was it?
Well, at that point we were still in denial, still couldn't believe that we had 2, and so decided that we would try again, and I had a 3rd miscarriage, and it was absolutely devastating. And our doctor had mentioned after the 2nd miscarriage that maybe we wanted to seek help, but I just really thought we wouldn't have this issue, and so it was after the 3rd where it was just everything looked so bleak that we really felt like we needed to go get help.
And there are a couple anecdotes in the piece, but one that really stuck out in my mind, the fact that so many families are doing this now. I mean, you talk about this time where you were at this dinner party where there were 10 couples and 6 of the 10 were undergoing treatment. You didn't all know it at the time, but
right. Actually, none of us knew it.
Yeah.
There were 10 of us at this dinner party, all sitting across the table from each other, chatting. We knew some of the couples and didn't know some of the other ones, and come to find out in a couple months later that 2 other couples were dealing with the exact same scenario. I mean, not with the miscarriages and things like that, but we were almost in the exact same spot with in vitro fertilization and everything. I mean, it was crazy.
So we've been talking a little bit about in vitro fertilization, but what you and Heath, the path that you went down was actually more complicated than that.
It was. So what we learned through these miscarriages and through a series of sort of strange steps is we ended up having to have all of these fetuses tested for genetic abnormalities or chromosome abnormalities. And we learned that our first 2 miscarriages there were trisomies, so there were extra copies of chromosomes. And the 3rd one was inconclusive, but it's probably thought that something like that happened again. So we knew that there was some kind of chromosomal issue that we were dealing with. Because I didn't have any problems getting pregnant, we knew that I could sustain a pregnancy because we had Ella and it was an easy pregnancy and all went well. We needed the assurance of a healthy embryo. We needed to make sure that we didn't have any chromosomal abnormalities that was going to cause a miscarriage at about 7 weeks.
So you underwent the pre-implantation genetic screening.
Mm-hmm.
had a number of healthy embryos.
We had a whole bunch of healthy ones. We had 9 that came back out of our 20 eggs that had been harvested, but only 9 made it to that process.
How was the pregnancy this time around?
It was amazing because I was pregnant and it had worked, but it was incredibly brutal. I was so ill, so tired. It was the exact opposite from Ella, which led us to think it was a boy.
And now, just a little over a year ago, your second daughter was born.
Yeah, Georgia was born about 15 months ago, actually coming up on 16 months, and she's amazing, and she's a little redhead, spunky, totally healthy, perfect little girl.
You write in the piece, I think it's in the very first paragraph, you write, "She is a miracle, she's our miracle."
And she is, absolutely. I mean, we could not have gotten to where we are today without modern medical techniques. We just couldn't have. And it was so dark and bleak there for a while to come out the other end and have this beautiful child, and to be able to sort of put it all behind us is pretty amazing. And she truly is a miracle.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.